Hey everyone, welcome back to News Channel 5 Plus. You are watching Open Line, where we are asking the attorney. This is free legal advice taking place right now during this hour we have with Kevin Kennedy. He's joining us from the Kennedy Law Firm in Clarksville, Tennessee. And I know he's got some family and friends tuning in tonight. It was great to chat with them earlier. And of course, we've got some great questions coming in tonight. So feel free to give us a call if you want to talk to Kevin. All right, Kevin, we do have someone actually on line 4. I just was told. Let's see if we can get to this caller right now. Hi, this is Bill DeChristopher. What's your question for Kevin Kennedy tonight?
Yes, Bill DeChristopher.
What's your question for Kevin Kennedy tonight? Thanks for joining us.
My wife and I, we froze 3 credit card accounts, and we kept one open, and we've got notice that the accounts were closed. My question to Mr. Kennedy is, what can they add interest upon interest after we freeze the accounts? We're on Social Security, and the thing is that my wife had health problems, and we had to freeze some of the accounts that we had. And the thing is that we're concerned, can the credit card companies add more interest on what we owe?
Yes. Okay, here's our response to that situation. As long as there is a balance owed on that credit card, they can charge interest. Some of the small print that most of Americans are not aware of, that yet you have a right to freeze the account, mean that no one can charge on it. But until that's paid off to a zero balance, they can charge. Sometimes the cards say, okay, you've got 3% interest, but if you don't make substantial payments, this, that, or another, the interest rate then goes to 10 to 15%, and we've seen all kinds. So you always need to be able to try to pay one card off completely and close it, and that will stop the interest on that. Another great thing that we're aware of, there is massive fraud going on everywhere. This is your alert on credit card. I'm telling you to check your credit cards all the time. I'm preaching to the choir because I don't necessarily check mine as much. But the truth is, the credit card's going to hold you responsible if you didn't check your statements and it went on. You can dispute any charge. The credit card companies are pretty good by giving their money back. But guess what? We're in a new day. It's called the Corona's Day. And the Corona's Day, I'll tell you what they're going to do. Everybody is going to start losing money, so they're going to try to say, we're either going to go out of business or we're going to have to charge these people. And I will feel it in the collection lawyers. And you say, well, what is a collection lawyer? Those are lawyers who are dedicated totally to collecting money on past due bills. They'll work you, they'll intimidate you, they'll threaten you, and then many times they'll file suit. Lawyers, and so we see the lawyers effectively cut those credit cards in half to try to get a settlement. So never pin yourself against the wall where you don't have a way out. And if I'm dealing with someone who is not fair, and I clearly know Kevin Kennedy's in, pay them off and get away from them. And if they won't even operate there, hire a lawyer, let the lawyer handle the transaction and get away. It's really tough. But no, the sad story is, even if you freeze them, they are still entitled to charge interest on that money until it's paid for. Right now, I see this wave coming. I hear it every day. That's why it's a good thing. Everybody says, well, what's really going on? Because they don't get to go to the courts and they don't hear all the phone calls that are coming in. But this is a good time to remember the Latin quotes, let the buyer beware. So what do I say? Try to get someone to go with you if you're going to purchase a used car. We're seeing lots and lots of people that say, we bought the car as is, they drive it off the lot and it breaks down. That's terrible. We saw one here, had a $30,000 car they paid for, and now it's about $12,000 to fix it up. So again, you know what the lawyers are going to say? Caveat emptor, let the buyer be everywhere. So use your best judgment, get some help. Why else do you have some? Because you can pin people down. People, as a general rule, are not out just to rip you off. They're not going to tell you all the defects, and then they say, well, they never told me about that. Because if they did, that brings on the liability. That's the intentional fraud. That is the misrepresentation. And at the law firm, what we're doing a lot, we're writing letters. And many times people, when they get a letter from us, they are fearful that the lawsuit's coming, the attorney fees are coming, the court costs are coming, the aggravation is coming, and there'll be additional things they have to pay, so that they try to work it out among them. So that makes sense. If you do nothing, you get nothing. You'll hear Kevin Kennedy always say, take a proactive approach. Don't let them wait and come on you. I disagree with a lot of lawyers because Kevin, don't do this until you're sued. Don't do this until you're arrested. Don't do this until you're indicted. That's not who we are. If we know there's trouble out there, we are planning and thinking and evaluating day one.
All right, great question. Thanks for calling in, and great advice from Kevin Kennedy. We've got a couple of folks waiting on the lines right now. Let's get to Bill. What's your question tonight? You are on Open Line. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you for giving me a chance to call. And Mr. Kennedy, you always admire you're a great, wise, and dedicated person, and very honest in our team. And you always come with the honest answers, and it lifts me up when I'm depressed. I might not want to hear it, but I know it's the truth. And I sat a little later on, that man was right. That man told me a different way to attack this problem, and I should have been wisdom to listen to it. But he's got some good strategy. It's just like an old country lawyer. And somebody better start listening to this man and stop listening to these politicians and all that. And I really appreciate it, Mr. Kennedy. And don't you take me lightly, because I'm eating it up every bit. Now, what I got the problem over here, I was in a car wreck about 3 years ago, pulling my driveway. A lady slammed in the back of me. I had my signal on, told me out. I had to go to the hospital in an ambulance. The officer didn't do his job. During the report, he was worried about my insurance more than he was hers. This lady was driving with no license, no insurance, and they let her leave the scene to turn herself in later. Now, ever since then, it's been a nightmare. I had to go get in my car at the towing lot, and I had to hire a lawyer through legal aid to try to get into court, which he didn't. She just paid a slumlord's fine in the Metro courts, which is all they wanted. And it's been hard trying to track her down. I had to hire a detective through this lawyer from legal aid, and finally got a rundown on her. But I think that I've had to pay all these medical bills. I'm still having problems, and I'm thinking I might have to have a nervous seizure, a loss feeling in my arms and legs, and that's a tragedy since this wreck. What I'm really trying to understand is why she can't come to court, because we can't load her. We located her. But what I'm really angry about is her Metro just let her ride out. She's got a rap sheet out of this world. And
yeah. Well, I'll tell you.
I want to know if I could have got in the court, but I better get some of his money from Trump and everybody that's coming in, this stimulus money, because I don't have a dime now for nothing.
I heard you. Well, here's what they always say in the lawyer world. You can't get blood out of a turnip. And so thank you so much for those nice comments. They're well appreciated. And it helps inspire me to try to help others. You know, I am asked quite often to say, well, you work all day. Why do you do that? You know, on the front of my building, it says we're committed to helping people. And so my whole organization, if I wasn't a lawyer, I'd still want to help people. If somebody was broke down, I want to help people. And your words are very powerful, and thank you so very much. The word to the wise is this: we're going to see more people without insurance on the roads than we've ever seen. So what does it mean, Kevin? What it means is, just like this gentleman, the person did him wrong. They have a rap sheet. They're out there with no insurance, no driver's license, and you're not going to get blood out of a turnip. So I'm telling everybody to make sure you have uninsured motorist coverage on your car. And if you don't, then we just come up short. They always said the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. You know what that really means? Maybe one guy pursues knowledge more than another man. And in the old days, Zoom wasn't possible. TV wasn't possible. The average working man never had access to hear a lawyer talk. That's why this is so valuable. You'll find this very interesting. I never saw a lawyer in person till I was at the university. I saw my first lawyer in person when I was at the university. Never saw one, never went to court. My family never was in court. And so that's why I take this opportunity to share so much. That little tidbit alone, and thank you for your question. I'm sorry for your circumstance, but getting uninsured motorists, if you don't ask for it, it's relatively inexpensive, but you get it. And then when someone hits you, you just turn it, and they can't really make your premiums go up because you use your uninsured motorists. It's not your fault. Public policy wants people to be held responsible who have done wrong. And if you've been injured, public policy wants you to be compensated. And so it is absolutely a nightmare, but you'll hear me. I'm not a prophet. I am a Christian, but I've been around and I understand we're going to see a mass amount of car wrecks where there's no insurance and people don't have uninsured motors. And it can ruin your lives and your family's lives. So that was a great question. Thank you for those comments. It was able to let me, and even tomorrow, even when I get so many phone calls and there's more, and I've got all my lawyers and they're all taking phone calls, and my office administrator, she's dynamite. She drives us. You need to call these back. You need to call these back. And we give it all we got. And, God's been good to us. So I'll say it tonight on this television broadcast. You can't outgive him, no matter how much you give him. And you can't outgive him. Thank you for that phone call.
Yeah, great question, Bill. Thank you so much. I know Kevin appreciates those kind words, and we appreciate you tuning in here tonight. So we've got Lee, Brandy, Madeline, and Ann all waiting on the lines. We're going to try to get to your questions, but we have to take another quick break, so we'll be right back. Keep it here.